fat ass mole.
Fat face mole. You better rack off your mole.
Dumb mole. Dumb mole. Dumb mole. Dumb mole.
Shut up, you mole.
Shut up, mole.
Yeah, you mole.
Such a mole. Such a mole.
You can't act like a mole.
Welcome to Mole Patrol!
What is up, Mole?
G'day, Mole.
Yeah.
You look like the daughter of a Russian oligarch.
Hello, my name is Svetlana, and I see you on OnlyFans.
I look like a Mexican rapper who's based in LA but got deported.
Do you know what that sounds like? I want to see that collab. Mexican with a Russian. Like a Russian Cardi B with a Mexican rapper. That'd be
It's
funny.
like just like tacos full of like cold potato salad.
Yeah. Some pierogi. Hey, a pierogi is kind of a steamed taco.
Yeah, maybe. A
Steamed
steamed, sad, wet taco. A
Steamed
sad,
taco. I feel like a steamed taco would be a great drag name.
Yeah, it
steamed
would. I don't know if I'd want to open it to see the steam. What's causing the steam?
How have you been, Mo? We haven't even had a little catch up. Have you been well? How
Yeah,
was your
good.
Christmas and New Year's?
All good, grand. The tour is flying. I think like waiting to get stuck into the tour is kind of the worst part. You know what I mean? And then when you
Yeah.
actually get going, it's like the Edinburgh Fringe. You stress all about it for ages. And then when it's actually getting into it, you're like, it's class. You get to catch up with everyone, see all the audience, all that.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And as well, because I
You've
think...
been all over the place.
Yeah, I've been all over the place. And now I'm back on the 2-month crazy. It's like this time of year always is like the biggest time
Yeah.
of the year, like because people are depressed and they need comedy. And But it's, I think...
Nothing
yeah.
like a bit of depression. It's great for business.
Yeah, especially as it's like winter depression plus the world right now. I feel like it's like everyone needs a
There's
little bit.
never been a more important thought. I think people just need a break, like myself included. Like I can't. I've written a post-it note to myself, saying no phone after gigs because I'm kept doom scrolling all the doom.
Yeah.
So what I do is I doom scroll in my car. I sit in my Jeep and I doom scroll after gigs and I go, well, I'm sad now. So any of the energy from the
That's so
gig is gone. I
sad.
know, but I just kind of need to get out of the way.
No, I know what you
Do you
mean
know what I mean?
because it's like that like post adrenaline like kind of.
I've got to take it down, but not too much that I won't sleep because then I'm sad.
Do you know what? Yeah. I know what you mean though.
Do you know what I mean?
Last night I did a 6:00 show in London, right? And then I was done by 7 and then I went and like had dinner and I went to bed at 11 and I was like, oh, this is the adrenaline come down I can handle because it takes that long.
Yeah.
But if you do a show at 9 or 10, like you're
But that's
fucked.
like I usually, if I'm doing a club show in Dublin, for example,
Yeah.
I'll finish maybe 11:15. I'm home at 11.
Yeah.
I can't just be like, you know what I mean? Just put on my night smock at 11 p.m. and snuff out my candles. Good night, everyone.
But that's why you
Doesn't
need
work.
that. You need that sort of like come down. That's why a lot of like I think Trevor Noah was saying that he had a sugar addiction because that helped him come down after shows.
Oh, like kind of crashed himself, I suppose. Yeah.
Like and some people do heroin. Some
whatever
people
takes the
do
edge off.
Haribo.
Just-
Haribo or heroin.
Imagine I start like smoking heroin to like just take the edge off. She's like that.
Then you won't sleep for 4 days.
Danny's on keto. I mean, it looks awful. I think heroin,
He's lost a lot of weight on that keto.
Yeah, just golden brown texture like sun.
Is heroin keto?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah, nice.
Here's bizarre because I used to be a social care worker. I used to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
with people in addiction. Heroin's actually non-toxic. I'm not telling anyone to take heroin, but alcohol affects every single organ in your body: your skin, your hair, your lungs, whatever. Heroin's actually non-toxic. Now it's detrimental for your life,
Right.
Because of all the problems that come with the addiction. But as an actual thing, as a chemical,
Right.
it doesn't affect your organs or anything like that, because all it does is it blocks off the pain receptors in your brain. So that's why you get that. If you've got loads of trauma going on in your life and you need to block it all out, that's why heroin and opioids are so good, because they literally
Yeah.
block it out.
That makes sense though, because like that's like Greg Fleet. He's like a really famous Australian comedian for
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
And
I know him.
he was a functioning heroin addict
Wow.
for like 20 some, I think over 20 years or something. And I read his book, and it was so funny because he used to go to Edinburgh all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not really funny, but it's kind of funny. And he went down to
There's no way you'd get heroin in Scotland. They wouldn't stand for it.
and this is like I think it was like early 2000s or late 90s. He has his story, and he goes down to Leith like to try and Leith walk.
Sean Stalite.
Yeah, to try and to score some, right? And so he goes down there and he finds himself in this alley and like these bunch of like, like
Ne'er-do-wells.
Yes. It's a good way to put it.
Vagabonds.
And they come up to him and they pulled out a knife and they're like, what are you fucking doing here, cunt? And then one of them looked at him and goes, "Oi, were you on Neighbours?
No.
And because he was on Neighbours, and then they were like, oh, no way. Like,
I fucking love that show,
yeah,
man.
fucking love that show. And then he didn't die. I was like, that was like
Wow.
such a crazy story.
I listened to a really phenomenal audiobook recently by Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue, and it's called The Heroin Diaries.
Wow.
If anyone's traveling, or you've got a long haul flight, or you've got loads of driving to do, or
Yeah.
like us, you're on the road a lot,
Yeah.
it is unbelievable, and it makes all of our kind of famous heroin addicts seem like absolute pussies. Like,
Yeah,
they
they
were like,
were. Motley Crue were
they
like
were
insane.
insane.
Yeah.
Like off the charts, and like he died a couple of times while they were on tour.
Yeah, wow.
It's all, but the reason that he kept a diary.
Yeah.
No, even at his worst, and like it's the self-loathing, and he was going out with this girl called Vanity. He used to go out with Prince, and like she was really toxic, right? So she would like send herself like 100 red roses and put a card on it and say, "I want to get rid of him. Come back to me, Prince." But she had sent it to herself. So people think that like all that toxicity and shit is like a new thing. That's been going on for fucking decades.
Do you really? That's what I kind of miss, that kind of like time in the 90s and early 2000s of like, and even before that, of just like chaos, like
Yeah.
with the celebrities and like. But now
People
I
going
don't know.
off the rails. Then they all went to rehab and got boring.
Yeah, but then like I feel like now like everyone's like sober, everyone's like, you know, an influencer. They're all in their phones. They're
Sober
addicted-
curious.
Yeah. So
I'm California sober. I hate when people are that and they're like, I don't drink, but then they take a shitload of drugs.
oh yeah, of
Come
course.
on.
Yeah. That's like
Like-
that. That's like the classic white girl. They're like, yeah, I'm like, I go to yoga and like Pilates.
Yoga
and so-
teachers are absolute fiends in my personal experience of knowing some yoga teachers. They
Yeah,
are
yeah.
lunatics when it comes to
Oh my god!
yeah.
Like I think just drugs in general. Like everyone's got to have a vice, you know. Like
yeah, mine is mainly Baby Bells these days. Oh, how
Is
the
it
mighty have
keto?
fallen. Baby Bells are keto.
Oh.
It was my main reason for doing keto.
and the wax as well.
The wax. The wax
Or
is
do
a
you
good thing.
or do you use that sexually, Danny? Just
I'll be selling Baby Bell butt plugs to anyone, but they must have small anuses.
you know, you can get the big baby bell. Have you seen the big one?
Yeah, I bought one once and then I tried to air fry it, wrapped in breadcrumbs, and then the whole thing melted and stuck to the air fryer. Just eat it.
No, but I think there's one like this big.
Yeah, that's
oh,
one,
that
yeah.
one. You tried to air
Yeah, it
fry
was
that?
15 quid, or it was expensive.
Jesus, all right,
Yeah.
very cool.
There
Well,
you
speaking of, I don't know, cheese and butt plugs.
Speaking of awful things.
yeah, speaking of all things. Today we're talking about flatmate / housemate moles.
Yeah, I think this is one we've been wanting to do for a while,
Yeah.
and we've had a few messages and stuff, but like everyone, I think around the world, particularly like anywhere here in Europe or in Australia, like everyone has been scarred by housemates.
You have to do it. Like I envy people.
It's part of your life. It's part of growing up.
Right? Like, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, I haven't lived with. I mean, I do have a flatmate at the moment, but it is my boyfriend. But like, I haven't lived with people for probably probably close to 8-9 years now.
I'm probably 10 years more since and like obviously I travel and stuff like that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Or if I'm traveling with mates sometimes and we get we share a room, no problem.
but
But
living together.
I cannot live with anyone. Like I've gone too far. I need my space, especially when your job is social.
Yeah.
Like nearly most days, if you're at the gym or you're doing radio or you're doing a podcast or whatever, and then you're gigging at night,
Yeah.
you're talking to people for at least 13 hours a day.
Yeah.
When you come home, I don't want to talk to someone.
And exactly. And then also like I've been in situations in my life where I've lived with someone who was like super toxic and then just stopped talking to me.
Oh my
and so I didn't
God.
even want to leave my room.
Frosties for
Oh,
breakfast.
like all day. And I would just stay in my room and I would like see if she was there.
That
and then, like,
stonewalling is such a shit thing to do.
it's
It's such an
awful.
abusive thing to do. Like, I'd rather someone had a punch up with me. Like, I'd rather
Yeah.
someone punch me in the face.
Yeah.
Because at least then you could just get that out of the way.
Right.
But that fucking shit
Oh,
drives me
that
up the
was like
wall.
insane. And do you know what? I don't even know why. Like, she still doesn't talk to me. I think she blocked me and deleted. And I have absolutely no idea why. I like literally gave her my room. Like,
Also, you're a bit OCD like me. Like, you don't smoke. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you don't really have any gross habits. Like, I mean, what could you possibly be doing? That's usually people, they're mental and then they've created this other narrative.
and they projected on you.
Yeah.
So I went to Edinburgh Fringe and she broke up with her boyfriend. So I was like, you know what? Just take my room while I'm in Edinburgh
Yeah.
and like in Melbourne and like you can just have that, whatever. So she started seeing this new guy, fine. And I was gone for like 2.5 months and I come back and there's a completely different bed. And I was like, where's my bed? And she's like, oh,
Did they break it?
they broke it.
At least they bought another one.
No, but then they bought another one from the op shop, like from the charity shop.
Some scaldy, like...
Some scaldy,
dirtbags.
and it was like one of those ones that's like definitely from the 70s, like, you know, with like a wrought iron back, and the mattress just dipped in the middle.
Cruella de Vil, like scabies bed.
I know, and I was
That's
like,
rotten,
right? And then she's like, yeah, but we got you a new bed, and then like turned it back on me, and I was like,
wow.
And then after that, she just like hated me, and like because obviously she'd fucked up, you know.
But also as well, when people get used to not being there for ages, they're like, what are you doing here? It's like, I fucking pay rent here, you prick.
I know, and I was like, I gave you my flat to like use for like 3. Anyway, it was crazy, but like I'm so happy.
Sharing with people, I think, you know, a lot of people don't even have that option now. Like, I'm so glad. I've been renting since I'm 17.
Yeah.
Like 17 into 18.
Yeah, right.
And like, you know, I haven't lived at home. I've lived out of home way longer than I ever lived at home.
Yeah.
And but like living with people is so hard. And I think no matter, like, Dublin rent's really expensive, London, etc.
Yeah.
For me, I'm paying for happiness. I will do an extra 2-3 gigs a month.
Yeah.
I don't care what I have to do. I'll do it if it means that I have my space.
But that sounds like someone that's been scarred from like, I'm the same. Like I literally like after I left Berlin in like 2018, and I was just like, and then I went on the road, and then I was like, after this, like I'm too far gone. Like I can't live with anyone, and I will go without stuff just so I can have my own space.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know how people were raised and stuff like that as well. Like Irish lads.
Who raised you?
No, but seriously, like I've lived with Irish lads, and they're just so lazy and so dirty. And then if you say anything to them, they get all defensive.
Yeah.
And they can't take it. Like, can you pick your dinner plate up off the floor?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And then they're just, instead of just going, yeah, cool, they explode, or else they let it build up. And I'm like, this is insane.
It's crazy because like, and then you end up hating people that you thought you really liked if you live together. Like, but I like actually one of my favorite places I ever lived was like when I first moved out of home and I went to Sydney, right, and to study up there.
Uni.
Yeah, uni at NIDA, and I was living in a place with a gay couple, a single gay guy, and a lesbian, and her girlfriend was always there. And it was the funnest fucking house I've ever
That'd be
lived in
great
my
crack.
entire life.
And like, yeah, gays keep the party going. Lesbians are great for DIY.
Oh yeah,
Win.
yeah. I know, win-win situation, right? It was amazing, and then like I loved that house. It was like super, like such a fun.
That actually
place.
sounds like really good crack. That sounds like it'd be a great reality show.
Yeah, true. I think that actually would be very, very good because I think also like it was crazy because like we would always hear the couple having sex, and then the gay couple having sex, and then the lesbian couple, they probably didn't have sex as much. Don't want to perpetuate the stereotype. And then my other, like the single gay guy,
lazy lesbians.
the single gay guy would just jump across to the park across the road and like meet his like little like hookups and stuff like from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I like living with people. Like, I think it's like the little things that kind of that drive you insane.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like I lived with Irish lads. Like, what I have to say, as awful as the bad things were, as in like the messiness, or like I was always the one who had to like pay the bills, and then the lads like wouldn't give you the money for the bills, and I'm just like,
because you would be like the organizer for the house.
and then like I'd pay the electricity bill, and they were all earning more money than me at the time, and they just wouldn't pay for it. And then they'd be buying like 100 quid a week.
It's
of
like
weed.
the chore.
Do you know what I mean?
It's the chores, like the jobs aspect of it, and like they're trying to collect the money for rent, or like if someone doesn't really have a job, and it's
you
like
get no thanks for it. Like,
I know, but I actually like when I first moved to Berlin, I lived with I think you've been there. We had Christmas, I think, like
oh yeah, I
one
forgot
there,
about that house.
And,
it was real tall.
Yeah, ceilings on the ground.
Yeah, but narrow. Yeah.
And I was living with another comic, but he also worked full time, like in a normal job and stuff. And I always used to hear him having sex, and I was just like, I just used to be in my room, just being like, I don't want it. And then so sometimes I get really like,
please finish, please. What music will make him stop?
Yeah, exactly. Or then I would be like, okay, 2 can play at this game. And then if I ever had someone come over, I'd be like super loud, super annoying. I'm like,
so you're playing like audio sex noise table tennis.
Yeah, I mean, I did have a lot more sex than he did, so it's fine. But
I win, Mal.
Yeah, I win, Mal.
He's probably in a therapy session right now.
Nah, he's fine. He's a comic. He gets it.
Yeah.
So funny. So we have a couple of we have some moles. So we'll start with a voice note. So here we go.
I once lived with a mole who never lived away from home before. He was an absolute messy little mole. He decided one weekend when he was home alone to go into piss by himself. He did dodgy septum. Whatever he did gave himself a massive nosebleed. He also managed to poop himself, and he walked poop and blood all over the upstairs of our house. Eventually, when we came home, this messy little mole had never cleaned anything up, so there was poop and blood everywhere. And when he eventually moved out of our house, he was so manky and dirty that he'd left loads of clothes behind. And when we went to take them out of the room, the clothes had moulded onto the floor. Absolutely horrendous. And to make it worse, one of the other poor feckers had to share a room with him the whole time.
No. So he like deviates his septum from who knows what.
Yeah.
Shits himself.
Wow.
And like, wow. He's like the final boss of bad housemates.
That's what I mean. Like, you don't really know like who you're going to move in with, and sometimes you don't have a trial period either.
Everyone is sound for an hour.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, it's like dating. You know, it's like. And I remember like whenever
Everyone's cool for the first 10 minutes.
And I remember when we used to have interviews we used to get bombarded. Like, we had this really great place in Melbourne, and there was 4 people living in 4 rooms.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool place. It was like amazing. And I remember like doing those things, and we had to be so like very pedantic about who we were choosing, and we would ask them a bunch of questions and like had them on the interview. It was like a casting couch almost. You're like,
yeah. I'm not a real agent, and this is not a real couch.
Exactly.
And then it's hard then because if someone moves out, the financial pressures on the rest of the house to make up for that room if you don't get someone to move in.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. You're like, come join us. It's awesome here. We had this lunatic of a landlord in the last share house that I lived in.
Yeah.
About 14 years ago, and it was in Harold's Cross in Dublin, and Charlie was the name of the landlord, and he was definitely, I don't know whether he was like renting the house without telling other siblings, but there was something going on, and he used to count the money out for the rent every month onto the kitchen table. Then he tried to focus on the deposit because he said we didn't clean underneath the fridge. Now this house got broken into 3 times, and we think he organised. He had something to do with it. Like one of the lads caught a guy at the door one time, and they'd used like a piece of plastic from a 7-Up bottle to force the you can do that by the way to open the lock. And he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, the door was open. I was just closing it." Yeah, we were like, so there was loads of ropey shit, and then I actually, because of all the shit that had happened, I exploded when he's like under the fridge, and I actually went for him, and like the lads had told me back, and I was like, "You're a fucking scumbag," blah blah blah. But he was just like, there was damp. I remember all my clothes got covered in mold after like a day because the rooms were all like weren't damp proof. Yeah, it was a big house, but it was like we had a massive garden. Then he would start viewing the house to sell it without giving us a warning. So you're sitting there in your boxers eating cereal, and suddenly like a couple would come through with him, and we're like with an estate agent, we're like, "I'm pretty sure you got to tell us. You can't just turn up at the gaff and it'll just be a minute." And I'm like, then once this woman came, and there was loads of rhubarb down the back garden growing wild, like it would look like something out of like Jurassic Park. Yeah. And she's like, "Can I'm not going to buy the house, but can I have some rhubarb?" And they're like, "Okay." So she just left with this massive pile of rhubarb, and then all the dirt from the rhubarb went all over the kitchen. And I'm like, I need to move out. I can't handle this.
I think you do get to that point where you're just like, I can't deal with this.
I can't do it. Like I was doing comedy. I was trying to make a living out of comedy, so I was working a couple of other jobs at the time, and I was the only one who drove at the time or who had a car, and there was a DIY shop next door, and like vans would just park in front of my car every day, and anytime I couldn't get out, and I'd go in like, sorry, and then the guy like would hate me for telling people to stop blocking my fucking car in, and then he started on me one day, and I was like, what do you want? Yeah. It's like, I'm going to work. Yeah. I was like, stop parking in front of my fucking... And then anytime I saw him, he's giving me death stares. Holding a lump of timber, like going, like, what? And I'm just like going, I'm trying to go to work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
The stress.
What was that when I first moved to Melbourne after like when I came back from Sydney, and then I moved to Melbourne, and I just found this like, I think on Gumtree, which is like, you know,
I got scammed on Gumtree for $2,000 at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah, right. So Gumtree, right? And I remember I found like a girl, and like she seemed like pretty fine, but she was so weird. Like she used to just like she would always be awake. Like I don't know if she slept, and then she would be like,
I don't sleep, I wait.
Yeah, and she like would only eat cheds. They're like a cheese biscuit.
They're
like
so
kind
bad
of thing.
for you.
They're so bad for you. Like
it's a lot of fibre.
Yeah. And she used to watch like all night. She used to watch because she was a shift worker, and she was like the emergency like 112 person, like 000 in Australia.
That is a really stressful job.
A very stressful job. But like she used to come home, and then she used to watch crime shows like to like relax and eating cheds. And like I think one time like we went out to a festival and we were like having fun and she's like, what are you guys doing? Are you doing anything illegal? And we're like, no. Like she was like trying to like, she was
All right,
so
chill
weird.
out, super cop.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was so, I was like, okay, like very weird. And I remember after that, all my friends used to like make fun of me for like living with her. And I was like, I've got to get out.
Yeah, that's no. I remember in this house we lived in, there was 4 of us, and one of our mates moved out, and then one of our friends' workmates moved in. We were like, we were in our like mid-20s, right? And he was a bit older, so he was around 40. And he was actually a lovely dude, like, and a bit of a stoner, a good crack though, very mellow, very chilled out kind of fella.
Yeah.
And but he like wouldn't take things out of his room, and like, you know, he'd leave like a glass of milk there for like weeks, and you know, be growing mold and that kind of stuff. But I think that kind of comes with the territory of stoners, to be totally honest with you.
I think just in general, like if you live with people who are like a bit lazy or whatever, like there's like, I remember like, and a housemate I lived with, like she's just used to just leave food under her bed, and like it would just, and like I remember when we moved out.
Toast, like the crusts of toast on a plate.
Yeah.
Under it, like, what are you doing?
Or with like tomato sauce, and it would be like under the bed. And it, like when we moved out, it was just like, it was like a whole like kind of, I don't know, ecosystem.
Yeah,
of, like, mold.
Like just fucking pick it up and put it in the kitchen.
But it's also like flatmates, but also landlords as well. Like I find like the worst.
They're like, we've such a problem in Ireland, and it's really destroying Irish people's mental health here.
Right.
Like they're doing it's basically a rent eviction, and because our government sold like all the properties to like let vulture funds buy them all, like you've no rights as a renter here. And
so like no, because like the same like in Australia, like you like basically the landlord's in control. Like they can kick you out like
at
pretty
any
much
time.
whenever. Yeah.
And they say, oh, I'm selling, and then they do it up, and they're like, oh, the buyer didn't buy, sorry. And like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's, they're trying to tighten up. But at least in Berlin and stuff like that, they had rent caps.
Yeah. And they have squatters laws as well, which means you can just, you know,
squatters can fuck off. I've no time for that. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
Like, there's a big, massive thing in Spain at the moment where people are squatting. But also, it's a double-edged sword because governments aren't giving them housing. So some people have no choice.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
And there's so many that are like, you know, open and this kind of stuff. But landlords, I remember like in Sydney, I moved one other time and I got into this like basement flat, and like Australian houses are made like shit, like totally
terrible. But they're all
terrible.
timber framed, and same in New Zealand,
or just like
but they get built
concrete,
really
or just
quick.
like they're just like very cheap, no insulation, like whatever. And I remember like we moved in summer, and I was on the bottom floor. I had like an ensuite. I was like super excited. I was like my first like proper like little house,
grown-up bathroom.
Grown up bathroom and stuff. And then it started getting into winter, and it started getting cold, and then like it started getting quite like dewy in the house, like just like dewy, like you know, like
DW.
and so like I could feel like mold, like, and then like one day I woke up in Sydney, like
no ventilation,
right. And it was all concrete housing, and I remember looking up and the roof was just covered in mold. Whoa. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And then I like looked in my walk-in wardrobe, all of my clothes were covered with mold and like everything. And then I was like, and my mum was like, this is dangerous, like you know, you can die from like mold. And so I moved my mattress out into like the lounge room, so I was like living in the lounge room at that point. And we tried to get out of the lease, and the guy was like, nah, you fucking signed the lease, so that's it, bro. You have to fucking take the lease. And I was like, no, I could die. Like, this is it. And it took like yelling like back and forth. And then like eventually my mum called him.
Nice.
I was 19 at the time.
Get in there, Gabby.
Yeah, get in there, gay. And she's like, you can't fucking, like, she just went off at him, and then he called me and he's like, yeah, so we're just going to break the lease. I was like, thanks, mum.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first little flat I lived in on my own, and it was tiny. It was basically a caravan, and it was €100 a week, and the bed wasn't even a proper bed. There was a wardrobe at the end of it. Oh, right. And it was
Were you like sleeping like this?
Literally, I had to open the wardrobe so my feet would fit in it. And when my mother came, she cried for 3 days. I was 19 and I was living in like Rathmines. There was loads of bars around. All my mates lived close by. I could walk into Dublin City. I had a job in a bar.
Yeah.
I was living the dream. But my mother actually wrote a short story about it because she was so upset. But she was cried for 3 days about it, and she called it the bedsit. I must find it. I swear to God.
Yeah.
But that had mold everywhere as well. I remember like mushrooms growing in the toilet because it was a basement one. It was like an old Victorian building.
Oh God.
But I remember when we lived in that house with the share house with the lads, when we moved in this new flatmate. This is kind of before Tinder and Bumble didn't exist, but
Yeah.
like dating apps hadn't really come in.
Yeah.
But dating sites were very kind of popular.
Oh, like
But
the Match.com,
Yeah, we were on
like-
the kind of Plenty of Fish and
Yeah.
that kind of era.
Yeah.
And there was like one on Facebook called Zeus. There was all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
There was like
yeah,
a dating
yeah,
app. Anyway, so we didn't even have internet in the house, right? And one of the guys who moved in didn't even have a laptop.
Right.
And he was like, he used a laptop at work when he was at work. So he would borrow one of the lads' laptops to do his like internet dating. So like he'd just be sitting there. Anyway, because he was a stoner and like, you know, like having sex wasn't really like his top prerogative.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but then he met this American woman. She was maybe 30.
Yeah.
And he was like 40, but she had been like a real hardcore Christian and then like turned her back on the church. And
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, I don't know, like nice, but like I only
yeah,
met her,
yeah,
but
yeah.
said there's a bit of trauma there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was working in a bar, so I'd maybe be in work for 7 o'clock to close, right? So I
Yeah.
was kind of whatever. And I remember watching TV. I actually remember specifically, I was watching Gladiator, Russell Crowe, because I bought this new TV in my room. And I
Yeah.
was like, great, I don't have to sit there with the lads with weed smoke or whatever. So I was
Yeah.
watching Gladiator. And the next thing I hear is this, like the loudest sex screaming I've ever heard. Like you accidentally turn porn on in front of your parents. You know what I mean? Just like, oh my God. Like just so over the top, right? And I was like this is like 4 o'clock.
Along with Gladiators, like
Yeah,
a weird
yeah.
mix.
I'm Maximus doing this. Oh my God. Like, oh, yeah. Yeah, like she was louder than Gladiator.
Wow.
You know? So I was like, and it just kept going. I was like, poof, poof, and then just like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, that's our housemate. And then, so my door was here, his door was there, bathroom was there, and my friend Shane's door was there. He would like, I think he was getting high in his room or something, right? But we both opened the door at the exact same time. And I remember just opening the door. It was horror because I was like, what's happening?
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
like an air raid, right?
Yeah.
So I opened the door and Shane opened his door and he was so stoned. And loads of like smoke came out after him and he just goes, what the fuck? Because he was sharing a wall with them, right? So he's like, the two of us just erupted. I remember we went downstairs to the sitting room to have like a little meeting, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember looking up and we had this little shitty like glass, I'm not even going to say chandelier, lampshade. It was like swinging, right? From
like
upstairs.
an earthquake.
I went to work, right? And I came back at probably 1 a.m. I get back at 1 a.m. Shane is still in the sitting room, traumatized. And I was like, how long did it go on for? And he's like, a long time. And I was like, well, what happened? Or is she left? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And he just looked like really upset. I was like, what happened? And he goes, I heard Pat come. And he said, they had sex for so long, like hours, and then he didn't hear anything from him. It was all her. And then he heard nothing, and he just went like, oh man, thank God that's over. But basically, Pat was like building up, like, you know what I mean? And then and he was like a big dude, like, and like, just not someone you want to hear coming,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then he said all he heard was like silence, and he kind of went, oh, thank God that's over. And then he just hears, and he said, it sounded like a ghost dog barking. You know, like a haunted dog. I can never, anytime I think about it, I always laugh about the guy. And he's like, oh man, so grimy.
So gross.
Rory O'Hanlon said that to me in Edinburgh one time. I think wherever I was staying, I heard someone having sex or something, and like Rory just goes, hearing anyone riding is brutal. And he's so right.
It's so true.
Even
like,
if it's a friend, family member, anything awful.
anyone, it just feels like awkward, you know? Like
just
when you
awful.
Yeah. Like porn, you can watch porn, fine.
Yeah.
But like if you like anyone in real time, it's like not. God. Okay, we have one more. Also, imagine still living with your parents.
Uno
and hearing
más
that.
more.
Yeah.
Uno más more, por favor.
So we have one more. This is a written one. So here we go. My mole of the week is my housemate, aka my wife. I tell her regularly that I'm going to the gym, but most of the time I go and park and watch my Netflix series in the car as she doesn't stop talking during my Netflix time.
That to me is a victimless crime and a form of self-care.
I think it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, anyone, like, I live with my partner, and there's times where I'm like, I want to watch what I want to watch. He doesn't want to watch it. And then we don't end up watching anything. So I think that's fair.
Yeah, I saw an amazing thing online where a woman had sent in a complaint to I think it was like, what's the name of those? It was like a Chili's or something, one of those restaurants in the
Right.
States.
Yeah.
Where or sorry, excuse me, it was a guy. And he's like, hey, I ordered this blooming onion and it never arrived. This is despicable service. And he absolutely lit them up, right?
wow.
And then he sends a message to the same thread and he goes, listen, I'm really sorry. I'd like to apologize. My fucking bitch wife ate the blooming onion in the car. Basically, she was meant to collect it. She like ate an entire blooming onion, and then was like, well, I don't know, I didn't see any onion. And then the guilt got a hold of
I
her.
know.
Like,
I mean, as someone who lives with a partner, and like sometimes I'm like, I don't like, I'll eat stuff because my boyfriend has self-control and I don't, right? So if I'll buy something, I'm the person that will just like eat all of it. And so sometimes I just don't even tell him that I've like eaten something. I'll just be like, and he'll be like, where did that go? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like,
beats me.
beats me.
Maybe you should get tested for dementia.
Yeah, like what is that? That's a you problem, okay? Not me.
Just gaslighting him over like the
I
yogurt
know,
you definitely
but like
ate.
it is insane. Like he'll eat a little bit of like something and then he'll leave half. Like I bought him Turkish delight and he just eats half of it and then puts it back in the pack and come back the next day and eat that.
That's
I'm like,
Jedi level.
it's insane.
Yeah.
I was like, what is wrong with you that like, you know, fucking eat everything? And then he yells at me because I like eat everything. Because
I'm just like, I can't have biscuits or chocolate or anything, like, because if it's there, it's getting eaten. Like,
exactly. Like even any ice cream, anything. I'm like, if you buy it, I will eat it. So,
we're actually gonna get some t-shirts done for our next merch run.
Yeah.
If you buy it, I will eat it.
yeah. If only we can get a t-shirt done with like,
I don't know how you'd spell that. I think it'd be like HWWW. Like, if anyone knows how you think you can spell that, write it in the comments below. The winner will get a couple of tickets to our next live show.
Yeah, amazing.
Whoever gives the best spelling of that.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of flatmate moles, housemate moles today. But thank you guys so much for listening. Please follow us and subscribe, like, ring the bell for notifications. And yeah,
We will see you on the next one.
we will.
Peace out, moles.
Asshole.